Hey everybody, welcome back to Mike's World. Today we're taking a look at the AZDOME GS63H dash cam for your car, truck, SUV, whatever. We're going to unbox this thing. We're going to set it up. I'm going to go through all the menus, and then we're going to show you some sample footage of daytime and nighttime and test the built-in microphone so you can see how that sounds. And then we'll come back for my final grade on the dash cam. Now, clear disclosure, AZDOME asked me to review this. They sent this to me for free. However, they didn't pay for the review. They have no editorial or creative control over what I'm saying. This is my full review and my opinion of this dash cam. So before we get started, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed, like the video, and also leave a comment. You can pick this up, a link in my description. Also at my Amazon store, amazon.com/shop/MikesWorld. So let's get started, and then we'll come right back here at the end, and I'll give you my final thoughts. All right, so let's go ahead and start unboxing the AZDOME. This is the GS63H dash cam. So it's just a box right here, lifts up. Pretty simple. I did already take the wrap off just because you don't need to see me taking a wrap off. So first thing is we have the dash cam. Most important part. Has a screen protective covering, which please keep the camera connected to the power supply during use. Buttons right here. We'll get into all this, but pretty small, compact, so you do have a screen the whole time where you can see. AVN, not sure what that must be for the rear camera. We'll figure all this out. So looks like some mounting hardware with some sticky stuff. I bet this is for the rear camera. So keep that. And an adapter. I probably won't use this one. Suction cup mount. So it slides in there. Looks like there's a rail right there. It slides on. Suction mount. We'll get that all mounted. And then we have USB. You have two. That's a USB mini. You don't see these very often anymore, but that's a USB mini. There's a slot for a micro SD card, which I do have. There is your HD out. So it has an HDMI out. That's interesting. I'm glad it has that. That'll make it much more useful. And there's for power. All honesty, I'm going to set it up and I'm going to test it with the rear camera, but in practical use, I probably won't use the rear camera. And actually, I take that back because interesting, because I do not see a rear camera. I'll have to read through all this. I'll have to get all this put together. We'll get it mounted in the truck and show you a demonstration. Before we get started putting this thing in the truck and hooking it up, I thought it would be important to go through the menus. So I've got it turned on here. I've got a little bit of a rudimentary setup, and the first thing I realized is the HDMI out does not do live video out. You can hook it up to a TV, and in playback, you can play back clips, but you can't get a live feed out. So if you were going to take a live feed out to, say, an encoder to try to live stream what you're seeing while you're driving, not going to happen. So keep that in mind. Got a 128 gig SD card on the side. So another issue is they sent me an SD card, the company did, when they sent this to me, and I didn't look at the screen, the little instructions on the screen. It says, do not insert the micro SD card while this unit is on. And I did just that, and it corrupted the card. So I had to go get another 128 gig card to put in here. And little bit of craziness off the bat. Then I had to read all the directions, and now I'm going to go through these menus for you. So when you hit the menu button, also one other thing, this has Wi-Fi. So all these controls that I'm going to show you can be on the app on your phone. You put this into Wi-Fi, connect this to the Wi-Fi on your phone. Now that means the camera is going to be connected to your phone, but you won't have internet. So keep that in mind. But Wi-Fi connection between the camera and the phone. And all these controls I'm going to show you you can control them on your phone if your phone's within 10 feet of this unit. So keep that in mind. But I'm not going to show you the app or anything else. I'm just going to show you everything about this, and we're going to demonstrate it, and I'm going to show you clips from this actually driving around. So first thing we're going to do is hit Menu, and you'll notice a set of menus here. So, and we'll go into each one of these. But if I scroll down, you have resolution, you have loop recording, time lapse, wide dynamic range. I'll explain that in a minute. Exposure, vertical flip, motion detection, impact detection, parking mode, record audio, date setup, GPS stamp, GPS info, G sensor, speed unit, live speed. Now, if I click this, I'm out of the menu. If I click it, menu, and click it again, now I get to the other settings. Turn the Wi-Fi on and off, time zone settings, your date format, your date and time, screensaver setting, beep sound, volume, speaker volume for playback, and your language. License plate, you enter your license plate in there. The frequency, usually 60 hertz if you're in the US. Storage space, you can format your card. Default setup, and then you can also, you have to plug this thing into a computer to do firmware updates. So let's go through each one of these real quickly. So I click the menu, and the first one we're going to go to is resolution. And you'll notice that resolution's all the way from, I guess that'd be 3K, right around 3K, 24 frames, 30 frames, Full HD 1920 60, 30. Then you have 1280 70, 20, I'm not sure what that is, 60 frames and 30 frames. Oh, 120 for slow motion. Okay. So right now I've had it on 4K 30. Now I'm going to go down loop recording. Now what this is, you can turn off loop recording, but when your card gets full, it won't record. What this is asking is not that every 3 minutes it's going to loop over. What it's asking for is how long do you want your video clips? Do you want each clip to record 3 minutes and then start a new clip, 5 minutes, or 10 minutes? If you do 3 minutes, you're going to have a heck of a lot more clips, but it might be easier to find what you're looking for. 10 minutes, it takes a while to scroll through all that, but you have fewer clips. So you just have to do what you think is best for you. I'm going to do 3 minutes, and then we're going to go to time-lapse video. So you can set this up to 2 seconds. And what that does is it takes one, I'm going to turn mine off. What that does is it will shoot 1 frame photo every second, 2 seconds, whatever you have it set at. And then from there, it stitches it together as a video. Wide dynamic range. So wide dynamic range, I have mine turned on. What this is it's going to enhance the video quality in low light and bright conditions. So it gives you a lot of range. So you can turn that off if you want. I'm going to leave mine on and test it. Exposure, what this is auto exposure. So let's say we're going to leave it at 0 for now. But let's say I record some video and I come back and I'm like, man, that looks kind of dark. Then you can up it to 3/10 of an f-stop, 7/10, and you can kind of adjust it. Maybe the shot's too bright and you need to adjust downward. And so you can adjust your auto exposure limits with that exposure setting. Vertical flip. So this is meant to be hang down from, but if you use a suction cup and you are going to have it upright, you can flip the video by this selection. Motion detection, have mine on. So what motion detection is that when you are parked, not moving, and the camera has a very small internal battery, 250 milliamp. The only thing that battery powers is the motion sensor. When it detects motion in front of the camera at a certain range, it starts recording. Motion detection should be off while you're driving. It can be on while you're parked. So just keep that in mind. It will mess up everything if you're driving the motion detection sensor. So in the book, it tells you turn that off while you're driving. Impact detection parking mode, I have mine off. So what that does, you're parked, same deal. The battery will monitor the camera, and if it detects a large impact, it starts recording right away, even if you're not in your car. And so that could be good if somebody hits you in a parking lot, something like that. Record audio is on. You can turn it off. Date stamp, I have mine on. GPS stamp, I turned it on. I want all that info. GPS info, it will tell you the satellite's locked on. You have G sensor. I have mine at medium. That's kind of like your G-force collision sensor. You can have it at high, but the slightest bump of your car, it's going to start recording. So I have mine at medium. Speed unit, you can go to kilometers or miles per hour. And live speed, I turn mine on. And what that does is you can see right here, as you're driving, it's going to tell you how fast you're going. And that's really, really helpful if you get pulled over by police and you were not speeding, and you have the video and you have the telemetry and the GPS to prove your speed, you're going to want that. So I suggest having that on, having the time and date both on your videos as well as GPS info, and you will protect yourself in the event of a crash, of a speeding ticket, or anything. You have the evidence. So keep that in mind. Now let's go back to the menus and let's hit it a second time. We can turn the Wi-Fi on or off. Time zone setting. I'm Central Time, Chicago time, so it's -5. You would be -4 if you're East Coast. Date format, I have mine as year, month, day. And because when you do that, if your video is ever time-stamped or you're sorting by date, it's easiest because it puts them in order as they need to be. It's not always the case the other formats. Date and time, this is where you can set it. You start going up and down. And to move across, you hit the menu button until you get to OK, and you just hit OK. We go down to screensaver setting, and what this is this thing by default is on screensaver after 1 minute, which means you start driving, you see the video for 1 minute, and then it goes to a black screen. Or it goes to a screensaver, which can be the screensaver is the clock. It tells you what time it is. Or you can completely turn it off altogether. I leave mine on. They suggest you don't have it on so that you're not distracted, but I like to see what's in view of the camera, and if something were to bump it, something were to happen, I can readjust because I know what it's doing. But here are your options. Screen off after 5 minutes, so forth. Oh, I got out of that. Didn't mean to do that. So beep sound is off, obviously. Speaker volume, low, medium, high. It's not like a counter, so you just pick one. Language is English. License plate. Oh, don't want to show that. I'll blur that when I edit. But you can enter your license plate number. Frequency, 50 hertz, 60 hertz. If you're in the UK or Britain, Australia, you want 50 hertz. The United States, you want 60 hertz. Storage space tells you how much space you have left on your card. In this case, 119 total on the card because you have to allocate other space for other things, for data. But we have 119 gigs available. There's 117 gigs free. So I've used 2 gigs with it just sitting here recording, and that's because I'm recording in 4K. So I've recorded 1.23 gigs in the short amount of time that I've been doing this video. Remember, the bigger the resolution, the more space it's going to take, the more often your stuff is going to be overwritten. Although, if I were in a crash, I'm going to save the stuff right away anyway, so I don't think that's going to be an issue, which I'll explain something else. Format, that's to format the card. All data will be deleted. I'm just going to hit cancel for now. And then you can change it to default settings, and the version tells you what version of this you're on. Go back out, and that is everything. Now, you have the OK button, can start and stop recording. So it was recording because it was flashing, and I just hit stop, hit it again, and it is recording. And there's your counter, tells you how long you've been recording. This is your time. This is your date. What it doesn't have on here is how much time is remaining, which would be great to have, but it doesn't have that. I'll stop recording again, and then you can scroll. So this button right here, this is your emergency lock, okay? So if you were to get in an accident or something happens, somebody races by you and there's a rollover crash, you hit that, I think you long press it. That long press turns on the Wi-Fi so you can connect to your phone. Get out of that. See if I'm recording. And I hit the button. See where it protected it? So by hitting that button, you are protecting this clip. So when a loop record goes, it will not record over this clip. So anything happens, you catch something on your dash cam, you just hit that button, protect that clip, and you've got your footage. You hit it again, you unprotect. Long press, you turn on Wi-Fi, go connect your phone, download the app, AZDOME app, and then you can control all of this from your phone. So that is pretty much a walkthrough of, and then also down here, the up button, if you press that, it's supposed to be mute. There, muted the microphone. Hold press again, and now you can see it is back on. And this is the LCD on and off. I hold it. Let's see. Huh, that's not working like it's supposed to. That's set to something else. That the parking G sensor, that turns it on and off. It's supposed to be LCD on off. So not sure about that. But anyway, I'm going to stop recording right now. We're going to go hook this thing up, put it in the truck, drive around, and I'm going to show you some sample clips. Okay, so I have the dash cam mounted right here, and you can see how it's mounted right there. I've got the wires run all the way up through here, all the way down, and they run all the way underneath, and it plugs in right here in the cigarette lighter port right there, along with something else that's plugged into the bottom, the one that came with it. Here is the front side of the dash cam. You can see it right there. And so mounted right up there. It's the best shot I can kind of give you of it. It is a fairly big profile. It's not one of the small skinnier ones like are on the market, but it does have the constant monitor to be able to see what you're doing. And it is a pretty good setup. So let's see what the footage looks like. All right, so we're doing some daylight driving right now, and you can see what the footage looks like. In 4K, it's pretty crisp and pretty good. And in the event of something happening with that kind of resolution, you should be able to zoom in and capture anything with a tighter shot with a digital zoom. Now, the audio is not the greatest, but it does record audio. You can hear a lot of noise in the audio, but you know, it's just a dash cam for catching anything that happens. I had it on, have it on screensaver, so after a minute it shows the speed and the time, but nothing else, because the way I have it mounted, I can't really see it anyway from the driver's seat. Nice little design, a little bit of a big profile compared to a lot of other dash cams, and it only is forward facing. You don't have the rear, you don't have the in-car, in-cab shot. But the one thing I would say is, you know, the motion sensor part of this, you could actually like suction this to like the window of your house or somewhere and plug it in the wall, and it works like a security camera. So anytime it sees motion, it's going to record it. It does have Wi-Fi that you can control it from your smartphone, your iPhone or Android. So that's a really cool feature if you don't want to use the buttons on it. One thing I will tell you is, you know, it says on the screen, do not insert the micro SD card while the unit is powered on. I didn't read that, and I did it, and I ruined a 128 gig SD card that they sent with me, micro SD card. So make sure it's turned off, and you want to make sure that motion sensor is turned off before you put a card in, because the slightest movement and that thing will turn on. And it's was so hard to like, I got to get this card in here without this thing being on. So I had to turn that off. That's really only going to be useful if you're using it for surveillance and, you know, around the house or something. It's not really good. You can't have it on when you're driving. So, and you're not going to park and then turn it on, turn it off. It's kind of annoying. So I'll leave it off unless I use the camera for something else. But the quality is pretty good, at least during the day. So you can see the footage during the day, and it actually looks really, really good. Now I still need to go out after dark and see what it looks like. I do have the wide dynamic range turned on, so it can compensate for bright conditions or really low light conditions. And I'm really curious to see, once I get out at night, what the zoom, or not the zoom, what the focus is like and what the exposure is like. Because our headlights and taillights going to just be blown out to the point you can't see anything. I'm curious to test that out after dark. During the day, it is excellent, but we have to test it after dark. So let's switch over and do that right now. All right, guys, so here's some footage at night. Pretty dark out. It's like 2:30 in the morning, and you can kind of see what the quality is like and how much you can see. And so this is a great example, both daylight and night, of what the dash cam is capable of. One of the things I'll point out that I didn't point out during the daytime footage is, if you look at the bottom of your screen, all the data that you have available. So you have AZDOME, which is the brand. You have your you can put your license plate number, so it's burnt in there. Then you also have the time, the date. You have the speed, which I'm stopped at the moment, so it reads 0. But you also, and then you have coordinates. So you put those coordinates into a map search, such as, you know, Google Maps or something, and it'll show you precisely where you're at that moment on the footage. So there's also, I believe, you can take this raw clip, and I believe there's something called Google Dashboard where you can put the metadata in, and it will actually show you like your trip on a map, or where the footage is at. Now there's also, I don't know that specifically, but I know that there's instructions in that book on how to use the GPS data to find your locations and all that stuff using maps. So you'd have to read the book a little closely. For me, it's great to know it's there in case I need it. You know, if you were to get in an accident, it's going to show you your trip and your speed leading up to that. If you were to get pulled over and you want to save that clip, then it'll tell you exactly where you were at, exactly how fast you were going. So if you were to get in a situation where you get pulled over and, you know, you're doing 4 miles over the speed limit and the officer says you're doing 10, well, you can prove them wrong in court. And it's pretty easy with a dash cam like this that can prove exactly how fast you're going and exactly where you were at. So yeah, I think it's pretty handy. There's a lot of different dash cams on the market, so you know what works for you and what do you need. This is perfect for me because I just need a forward-facing dash cam. I didn't really need anything else. 2 things that I would like to see them improve upon, and that is, number 1, a better suction cup mount that is more like a ball mount, where it can move in all different directions to get a perfect angle, because it's a little bit limited. It's also because the proprietary mount. What I'd rather have is on the top and bottom of this unit, I'd like to see a 1/4-20 screw, which is the standard size for tripods, because then I have a bunch of different suction mounts that would work. And if they put a 1/4-20 mount, they really wouldn't even need to ship it with a suction mount. So I'd like to see that. And the second thing that I'd really like to see is, I'd like to see that HDMI out work while you're showing live video. Even if it shuts off the LCD screen and then goes to the HDMI out. But I'd really like to see that for a couple reasons. One, if you want to wire and hook that into an external monitor, which could be used for a lot of reasons. But 2 is to be able to hook that into an encoder so that you can live stream while you're driving. Live stream your dash cam while you're driving. The unit has built-in Wi-Fi so you can control it, but there's really no way to live stream it. And now, why would you want to do that? Well, there's a lot of reasons why somebody would want to live stream their dash cam, but the most important reason to want to live stream your dash cam is, if you're live streaming it, even if it's not live online for somebody to see, but it's live where it's being recorded in the cloud, then you have a record of it in case something were to happen. You get in a wreck and the camera's damaged, or worst case scenario, you get in a situation where you need that video and somebody is able to get to your dash cam and delete it. at least if it was in the cloud being live streamed, you always have a record of it, even if somebody tampered with the unit here. And I would say that if it live streamed or went to the cloud, then you would not have to, you would have to log in separately to be able to delete that video. You could not delete that cloud video or that live stream video from the unit. So those are a couple of things that I would like to see with this, or any dash cam, any dash cam, honestly. So, but yeah, so this is the sample of the night vision video, and I'm going to real quickly get on the highway here. It's pretty dark, and this is the best, no street lamps right through here, so this is the best example of driving at night where all you have is the headlights and not much else. So, and I'll turn off the fog lights just to make it even a little bit darker. It's not a whole lot, but that's a little bit darker. And you can see, obviously, street signs are reflecting. So there you go. Alright guys, so that's a look at the AZDOME Dashcam GS63H, and my final thoughts on this is I would give it a grade of about a B+. It's a very good dash cam. It is somewhat of a higher profile, and they do make different types of dash cams. There are some sleek, longer form ones that are a little bit smaller profile, but overall this thing has a lot of functionality. Two things that I just don't like about it. Number one is the suction cup mount. It's got this proprietary rail right here. It would be much better if this thing had a 1/4 20 screw on the top and the bottom, so it would be a little bit versatile with the different mounts that you could use. The other thing that I don't like is it does have HDMI out, but it's really just a hook to your TV to play out. And you know, in this day and age of live streaming, it would be very good if this camera's HDMI out worked live. So as you're going down the road recording what's coming in front of you, you could also HDMI out to an encoder or something like that and be able to live stream from this. It does have Wi-Fi so that you can control it from your phone, but it would be great if that Wi-Fi included a signal that you could then put RTMP server information, and you could actually use the data on your phone to live stream the shot. So I think that there's room for an improvement from AZDOME, from this camera and the ones like it. However, it's very affordable, and it does the job. It sets up so that as soon as you turn the vehicle on and it detects power, it starts rolling. When you record in 4K, in my opinion, the picture is absolutely fantastic. And when you're in 4K, you know, if you edit in 1080, you can digitally zoom in and not lose quality. So that's a great function as well. If you have something happen and you need to zoom in on license plate or something to find out who hit you, or, you know, whatever. You saw an accident, you want to zoom in on it. You see something streaking through the sky and you want to zoom in on it. This thing is great in 4K. It has a 128 gig card. That's the max it can take, is 128. I would suggest 128 gig if you are going to shoot in 4K. Also, you know, 1080 still is good, but if you are in 4K, you need a high quality SD card, and I suggest the SanDisk Extreme Pro. That's at least a V30 or higher. V90s are more expensive, but I would go as high as you can, just because 4K takes a lot more data, and you want to make sure that your card's not going to fail on you. When you take the card out and pop it out, it can spring out, so you got to be careful, because these are extremely small cards, and I lost one already and had to order a new one because it went shooting across the room and I couldn't find it. So you need to be careful of that. The other thing I learned the hard way: do not put an SD card in this thing while it's powered on. It will ruin the SD card and it will corrupt it. So I ruined an SD card there. So I'm on my third SD card. Not a big deal if you read the directions. So overall, it's a great dash cam. I'm going to continue to use it. I'm appreciative of AZDOME for sending it to me. Got to do a full review of it and everything. I'll keep it and use it. I did run the wire up underneath so it's hidden, and they do provide a long enough USB cord that you can do that. So and I would suggest, now they do have a kit. I read it in the manual. There's a kit that allows for hardwiring power to this, to like your battery or something. And when you hardwire power, it opens up some additional features in the menus that you can use this, but you have to be hardwired to be able for those functions to work. I'm not going to do that. I'm plugging it in the cigarette lighter, 12 volt. And the reason I do that is because if I need to pull the SD card out, my truck, when I turn it off, keeps power going to the 12 volt cigarette lighters for a little while. So I needed a way to disconnect the power so that it completely powers off so I can remove the SD card, because you don't want to put it in or take it out while this thing is on. So I leave it plugged in and I just pull the plug, it pulls the power. I can do what I need to do and move on from there. 250 milliamp internal battery. That is for motion detection mainly, so that if it detects motion while the car is off, it can power on briefly and record short clips of things that are happening around the vehicle. I have that turned off because that can only be turned on, or should only be turned on, when you're not driving. That means that while you're driving, you turn it off, you stop, you turn it on. You know, that's not too bad if you're operating this from the app on your cell phone, but if you're using the buttons on the thing, that's kind of a little bit of a pain. But the other thing that this has that I really, really like is it has live speed. So as you're driving, it tells you your speed. I have a truck that has a Roush package on it, which is bigger tires. And one thing I've always wondered is the speed of my truck accurate, the speedometer? Did they adjust it when Roush put this package on? And I didn't really have a way to test it until now with this thing. And as I was going down the road, I was matching the speed on the GPS from the camera with my speedometer on my truck, and they do match precisely, almost to a T. So that's a great thing to know. But having live speed, recording your GPS location, extremely valuable if you get in an accident, extremely valuable if you find yourself in a situation where you're pulled over, accused of something, accused of speeding, cop's going to write you a ticket. You know what? Don't make a scene. Sign the ticket, accepting it, go to court, pull your card, pull your GPS data from Google, and take it to the judge and say, I was not going that fast. Here is the proof. Here's the video. Here's the stop. And get yourself out of a ticket. So, this keeps, and the other thing too, when this is facing forward with the current mount that comes with it, the suction cup, it doesn't rotate 180 degrees, but it will rotate 90 degrees, and there's a stop. So when you're faced forward, it will rotate 90 degrees either direction like this, but it won't do 180 all the way back to you. But it's got such a wide angle that as you turn it sideways, if it's facing directly to the side, it's got a wide enough view. It's going to pick you up and the window, your driver's side window. So if you get pulled over, your camera's up here on the dash, and you get pulled over, just twist it like this, and then your interaction will be caught on camera between you and the officer. Great to have that record. So, and as long as the car is on, it is rolling. So just keep that in mind. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you've enjoyed this review. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed, like the video, and leave a comment. And remember, there is a Amazon link in the description to pick one of these up if you're interested. And you can also pick one up at my shop, amazon.com/shop/MikesWorld. And yes, it's an affiliate link. So if you buy through that link, I do get a commission. So I would hope that if you do choose to buy one, please do that. That's how we keep everything free, no memberships and stuff like that. Is through this affiliate link. That's how I make my money. So because YouTube advertising doesn't pay that much. So anyway, that's enough of that. I hope you guys have enjoyed. I'll see you for the next video next time right here on Mike's World. Take care.